ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
As you know, when this attack happened, the White House initially said it arose out of a spontaneous protest over an anti-Muslim video. That turned out not to be true, and the White House said they relied entirely on CIA talking points. But I have obtained 12 different versions of those talking points that shows that they were dramatically edited by the administration. Take a look at two of them. On the left, a draft initially written by the CIA. On the right, one that was used by the White House, the final version. What was taken out? All references to Al-Qaeda and all references to CIA warnings before the attack about the terror threat in Benghazi.
All right, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show, everybody, and thank you for being aboard. That is the big news breaking this morning. ABC News breaking the story. Jonathan Karl, about 12 revisions in the White House talking points that eventually went to Susan Rice, and she read those on the talk shows. This after the White House basically said they had nothing to do with it, and it was the best information available. The State Department kept coming back and back and back and saying, change this, take this out, 12 times. All references to terror, all references to previous security warnings and requests were taken out. Instead, they went with the video scenario. Joining us now is the one and only former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Mr. Ambassador, hello, sir.
Hi, how are you? Thanks again for having me.
Well, thank you for giving us your time. Really appreciate it. You made big news here last time saying that you felt that under the right circumstances, this whole thing could bring the administration down. Got picked up everywhere. What's your take on the latest revelations made this morning by ABC News and now by everyone else?
Well, I think the Jonathan Karl story is extremely important. It builds on the work of Steve Hayes at the Weekly Standard. In fact, Steve has another article himself out today, and I really do think it should be open season here because the testimony on Wednesday by Mr. Hicks and the others had to make it clear that there was simply no factual basis from the get-go to any argument that this was a demonstration in Benghazi that got out of control, a demonstration over the Mohammed video. This was a terrorist attack from the outset. Everybody understood it to be so, and there was never any doubt. So as the talking points got altered, I think we're going to now begin to find out where the responsibility lies. Is it at the doorstep of Secretary of State Clinton, or does it go to the White House and all the way to the Oval Office? We don't know the answers to those questions yet. So, of course, the pro-Obama, pro-Clinton spin is that there's no smoking gun from the hearing. That may be, but there was a lot of smoke in the room.
A lot of smoke in the room, and of course, you've been in a position to represent the administration's position on various things as the UN ambassador during your tenure. You knew from the get-go something wasn't right here, but now again, it was the State Department, as we learned on Wednesday, that told Greg Hicks, "Don't talk to Congressman Chaffetz when he comes. Don't say anything to him. Don't let anybody talk to him." And then when one of their moles weren't allowed in the room on a private meeting because they didn't have high enough security clearance, they got Stephanie Mills called and said, "What happened in that meeting? What happened? Tell us everything." So, and now it's the State Department again that wanted these talking points scrubbed to discount anything that could have indicted Hillary Clinton and the State Department. So although I'm sure the White House had to know about this, although I'm not sure, but I would assume, it looks like the State Department, and of course who ran the State Department? Hillary Clinton. Can she continue to claim total ignorance on all this? Because after all, sir, she did say at the hearing she takes full responsibility.
Well, she takes full responsibility for in the abstract, but not on anything that actually happened. And I think that's a position increasingly difficult to sustain as of not just September the 11th itself, but what happened before it and what happened after it. You know, the question we haven't really had a chance to get into is why did we open a consulate in Benghazi that didn't come anywhere close to meeting the State Department's standards for security, especially in a dangerous environment like that? that. And I think it was about advancing the theory that the overthrow of Gaddafi was a huge success. The Arab Spring was eliminating terrorism. Everything was going well in Libya. Really, what could go wrong? That put these people in a vulnerable position to begin with. And that is a matter of policy. That's a matter of policy that comes from the top of the State Department. You mentioned Cheryl Mills, who is the person who called up Greg Hicks to yell at him for having the audacity to meet with a member of Congress. She is Hillary Clinton's chief of staff,
right.
Was her chief of staff at the State Department. And I've spoken both to former political appointees under Hillary Clinton and career people who say that Cheryl Mills is her consigliere, has been her enforcer, which means she doesn't say anything that Clinton doesn't authorize. So I think we're right at the door to Hillary Clinton's office, and the only question is who's going to open it.
Well, a very, very good question. We're talking to Ambassador John Bolton here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Senator Lindsey Graham said that, it was Congressman Chaffetz who said that he said Hillary must testify again. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, but I would not do it soon. The questions that were answered on the hearing on Wednesday were very important questions, go right to the root of what happened on 9/11. But the panoply of events that led up to 9/11 and why we didn't have assets in place to help the people out. You know, look, we'd had the Arab Spring underway for a year and a half. We'd had riots, demonstrations, civil wars all over North Africa and the Middle East. Didn't anybody in the Obama administration think that Americans might be in jeopardy at one point or another in cities in the region? Did we do nothing to enhance our capability to extract them from countries in difficult circumstances or provide protection like we could have used at Benghazi? That's a huge issue right there. And then, of course, where the Mohammed video story came from, I think is important because it goes directly to the question, did the administration concoct a political cover-up given there was only 2 months until our presidential election? It was a cover-up that may have started with Susan Rice and her 5 Sunday talk shows, but it included Secretary Clinton, it included President Obama. If it wasn't a cover-up, it had to be ideological blindness. Those are the only 2 explanations.
And so you would suggest waiting until more comes out and then to have more to ask Hillary about?
Right. You know, a number of people have asked, well, was there a smoking gun on Wednesday? And, of course, the Democrats and their media friends are saying, well, there was no smoking gun. I guess we can go home now. That's not the way investigations work. This is more like, to use a football analogy, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Right.
You need to do the spade work. You need to do the basic investigation. You need to look at thousands of emails and other documents. You need to talk to a lot of witnesses. And that's the way, really, the staff, I think, of Congressman Ice's committee had performed. They prepared the groundwork for the members. They knew they had interviewed the witnesses. They knew what their testimony was going to be, so it could be presented in a coherent fashion. And they need to do that probably with dozens of other witnesses before Hillary Clinton appears again.
And you know, the Senator Lindsey Graham, who I started alluding to earlier, is demanding that U.S. Army General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, return because he sees a point of contention involving whether any military officers issued an order to armed forces personnel on the night of 9/11 to stand down or not. So he wants him recalled as well.
Right, and I think that would be appropriate, again, after preparation. You know, Hicks testified that his defense attaché, a lieutenant colonel, told him via the military chain of command that the people in Tripoli who could have gone to assist in Benghazi were told to stand down. All right, well, somebody gave that lieutenant colonel the order. Let's find out that person's name. Let's interview that person. Let's see who told him to call the defense attaché in Tripoli. I mean, you can see how this should go.
Absolutely. One more quickly. I spoke with Victoria Townsend earlier, an interview we're going to run in a little while here on the show. She said, and then she hasn't said this anywhere else as far as I know, that Greg Hicks, now the State Department saying, oh, he wasn't demoted. He asked for this office job. He's making the same amount of money. She said they're bald-faced liars and that he was told, you take this office job or take a hike.
Yeah, look, people in the State Department and the Foreign Service have what's called rank in person. They do make the same amount of money, whatever chair they're sitting in. But it's clear that Hicks was moved aside. He testified that Elizabeth Jones, the acting Assistant Secretary for the Near East Bureau, basically told him that. And Beth Jones is another person that ought to be up there on the Hill being interviewed at length under oath about what she knows.
All right, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for your time, sir. Always appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks again for having me.
My pleasure. It's Ambassador John Bolton, ladies and gentlemen. This story is going nowhere but up. And I hate to say this. But if I and talk radio and Fox News, it's not putting us all in the same boat, but nonetheless, if we all sat here every day for the next year and did nothing but Benghazi, it wouldn't lead to the same place that this Jonathan Karl story has now started leading to. Now that ABC News has done this and unveiled this, as opposed to it being just in the Weekly Standard or just on my show or just on Rush's show, whatever, now the White House and the State Department are going to have to be held accountable. And this story is not ending. It's, hey, all you Benghazi fans out there, this story is just beginning. And so are we. We're coming back on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along, and Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor, Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As mentioned in the previous segment, we're going to be joined by Victoria Townsend, attorney for one of the, I hate to say whistleblowers, but that's what they're called, you know, Greg Hicks, one of the brave Americans who has now been, according to her and according to him, demoted. And the big news today, which we talked to Victoria about an hour before we took to the air. That interview is now linked on the Drudge Report. That's how big the news is. And she says that despite what the State Department is now saying today, that her client, Greg Hicks, was not demoted. He's making the same amount of money, and he asked for the desk job that he's now at after being the number 2 person in Libya at the embassy in Benghazi. She now says that Victoria Townsend, his attorney, says not only was he demoted and are they liars at the State Department, but that he was told in no uncertain terms, take the desk job or get out. So, again, another example. And then you have John Kerry. John Kerry speaking a little while ago today saying, I've learned nothing new based on the hearings and everything. And how could he say that today after the ABC News report where the State Department, which he now heads, although he wasn't there at the time, was hands-on? And here's the lie. Here's a lie, okay? There are many lies. Jay Carney, White House spokesperson, in November of last year said that, and quote, I'm not quoting. This is exactly what he said. Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what he said. Between the White House and the State Department, those talking points were changed by the White House and State Department combined. One word was changed by the people at State and the White House to replace consulate with embassy or embassy with consulate. I don't remember. One word. That's what Jay Carney said. And now it turns out there were 12 changes. And it was the State Department insisting the whole way, take out the references to terror, take out the references to previous requests for enhanced security, take out the references to, to Al-Qaeda, take out all of this had to be cleaned. And if Hillary thinks she's going to skate away on this, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Because if the mainstream media is involved now, I don't see any turning back. Now, here's another story. Well, actually, let's stick to this. This might amaze you. We're going to talk to Noel Sheppard about this a little later on. I should actually give you the guest list. We're going to talk to Victoria Townsend. You'll hear that interview at the top of the next hour. Noel Sheppard will join us from Malzberg's Media Madness on a Friday. Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, U.S. Army retired, Fox News military strategic analyst, and, of course, author. His latest book, Hell or Richmond, which is just out this week. I had the honor of speaking with Ralph at the same function, a group based in New York City that fights to keep Jerusalem undivided and in the hands of the Jewish people. We both spoke there. Kendall Coffey will do Spinning the Law with us, and we have a lot to talk about. Jodi Arias, and this case that we'll talk about with him is the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS. And we're going to I'll talk about this with you guys after the commercial break. I got some sound bites from Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader, who weighed in on this today on the floor of the Senate, because it's outrageous. And it just shows you. Here you have, forget a Nixonian cover-up. You've got a Clintonian, Obamanian, whatever, cover-up on Benghazi. And now you've got the IRS apologizing apologizing for inappropriately flagging conservative political groups for additional reviews during the 2000 election cycle to see if they were violating any tax-exempt laws, because they were all tax-exempt. These groups, they were 401(c)s, whatever. I'm getting mixed up with 401k and 529 for the college fund. I'm all mixed up. You know what I'm talking about. So you had the IRS targeting any group that had Tea Party or Patriot in the name. You got Obama's White House and Clinton's State Department lying about what happened before, during, and after an attack that killed our ambassador on 9/11. Wow. Maybe John Bolton's prediction, after all, was correct. But here's what I want to tell you that we'll talk about with Noel. In the White House, this is from a Breitbart report, in the White House's latest efforts at transparency, the administration announced to reporters that it would brief reporters on the latest shocking developments about the Benghazi situation, the Jonathan Call report, the emails, the changing of the talking points, behind closed doors. Behind closed doors. Politico reports that the meeting started at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Time. It moved the normal press briefing to 1:45. Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, did not comment on whether the meeting took place. It was an off-the-record session announced to reporters in the wake of the ABC News report. This is unbelievable. A behind-closed-doors briefing with reporters on what was reported today on ABC News. In other words, it wasn't addressed in the public by Jay Carney. It was addressed in private, so you and me couldn't hear what they said. That's your transparency of this phony, fake, fraudulent administration known as the Obama administration. What difference does it make? Well, Hillary, where do we start with that answer? Hey, maybe we'll do the Hillary shuffle in this half hour as well. All right, coming back on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920.
This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. And if you want to weigh in, it's 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. By the way, just so you know, if obviously if you're listening on XM at America's Talk Channel, you know we're now on channel 266. But if you're watching at Newsmax.com and you sometimes listen on XM, I've gotten several emails from people saying you're not on anymore. Where'd you go? We're now on channel 244, not 166. We moved from 166 to 244. That was an XM radio thing. Lots of stations, channels moved. So the America's Talk channel that we're privileged to be on went to 244. So write that down. All right, as I mentioned, the IRS inappropriately flagging conservative political groups for additional reviews during the 2012 election to see if they were violating their tax-exempt status. This according to the IRS. Organizations were singled out because they included the words Tea Party or Patriot in their applications for tax-exempt status, according to Lois Lerner, who heads the IRS division that oversees tax-exempt groups. In some cases, groups were asked for their list of donors, which violates IRS policy. Well, if it violates IRS policy, and they did it, it's all well and good to say you're sorry. As Lerner says, that was wrong, that was absolutely incorrect, it was insensitive, it was inappropriate, it's not how we go about selecting cases for further review. The IRS would like to apologize for that, she said. Who's getting fired? Who's losing their job? How could this go on in the United States of America? And all you got to do is 6 months later say, I'm sorry? Many conservative groups complained during the election they were being harassed by the IRS. They accused the agency of frustrating their attempts to become tax-exempt by sending them lengthy, intrusive questionnaires. Now, Mitch McConnell, the minority leader of the U.S. Senate from the great state of Kentucky, took to the floor of the Senate and really blasted this today. Here's cut 64.
Earlier this year, dozens of Tea Party-affiliated groups across the country learned what it was like to draw the attention of the speech police when they received a lengthy questionnaire from the IRS demanding, listen to this, demanding attendance lists, meetings transcripts, and donor information. One of the group's leaders described the situation this way. Said groups like ours either drown in unnecessary paperwork or you survive and give them everything they want only to be hung.
Yep, that's about it. Now, there's more from Senator McConnell, which I'm going to get to, but here, the IRS Commissioner Douglas Shulman, back in March of 2012, told Congress I guess that's called testimony. I don't know if he was under oath or not, that the IRS was not targeting groups based on their political views. Quote, there's absolutely no targeting. This is the kind of back and forth that happens to people who apply for tax-exempt status, Shumlin told a House Ways and Means subcommittee. Yet now we have Lois Lerner, who heads the IRS division that oversees tax-exempt groups, saying in some cases groups were asked for their list of donors. That was wrong. It was incorrect. We were insensitive, inappropriate. It's not how we go about selecting cases for review. Tea Party or Patriot in their applications for tax-exempt status. Tea Party or Patriot. I'm sure Green Energy or Green Group or Energy Conservation or Conservationist or Environmentalist, they're fine. I'm sure they got, yeah. Oh, yes, how could we help you? Here's cut 65 from Senator McConnell.
The head of one national advocacy group has released documents which show that his group's confidential IRS information found its way into the hands of a staunch critic on the left, who also happens to be a co-chairman of the president's re-election committee. The only way this information could have been made public is if someone leaked it from inside the IRS.
Yeah, but I don't see anything in this story from the AP today about the apology and the, you know, how it's never going to happen again. I just don't see any reference to anybody losing their job. I don't see it at all. Now, Lerner, back to Lois Lerner, the IRS division, head of the division that oversees tax-exempt groups, said this practice was initiated by low-level workers in Cincinnati and was not motivated by political bias. Really? Tea Party and Patriot? And that's not political bias? After her talk, she told the AP that no high-level IRS officials knew about the practice. She did not say when they found out. And again, I see absolutely no reference in this story made to anybody losing their job. And I have to assume that if somebody lost their job, that would be the first thing they would say, either maybe even before, we're sorry. But it's not there. It's just not there. One final cut from Mitch McConnell on the floor of the Senate today addressing this nonsense. Here's cut 66.
Those who have the resources and the will to fight these things should be commended. Those who don't should be able to count on our support. But let's be very clear, no individual or group in this country should have to face harassment or intimidation or incur crippling expenses defending themselves against their own government simply because that government doesn't like the message that they're advocating.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that that would be absolutely true. And you would think that that's the America we all live in. And we would like to assume that that's the America we all live in. And people make jokes, oh, you know, I'm going to be audited now or whatever, ha, 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 ha. But in reality, you like to think that, you know, that's just, you're just saying that, or whoever it is just saying that. But now we have absolute proof and an admission that that's not the way it is or has been. And this is intolerable. Again, how many oversight hearings could you have? How many scandals could you talk about? You know, this is Obama. He's our president. Get over it. Yeah, get over it? You know, why don't we just cancel the next election? Let's leave him as our president. People like Al Sharpton would marvel the way they marvel, the way Sharpton marveled at the fact that Fidel Castro could maintain power so long. I'll never forget Al Sharpton's book. One quote from it, and I'm paraphrasing, was, you know, Fidel Castro, he's just amazed the longevity of Fidel Castro, has been in power while we've had, what, I don't remember, 7 different presidents. Wow. Yeah, what does that show, Al? You want one person in power for 50 years? I mean, you try to figure these people out. You can't figure these people out. Or maybe you can. Maybe it's a lot easier than we thought. Speaking of Al Sharpton, and I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do it to myself. I shouldn't do it to the crew. But somewhere there is I don't even know what. Here it is. Al Sharpton. Remember the moving forward, you know, commercial. Here I got it. Lean forward. It'll be cut 8. Cut 8. Remember Melissa Harris Perry with her little show promos, talking about you know, we got to get over this notion that children belong to their parents, and actually children don't belong to their families, they belong to the community, and all these crazy things. Well, Al Sharpton has a little lean forward promo for his show himself, He's had a couple, actually. Here's the latest one. Give a listen and a watch to this.
We must have a renewed fight for many of the things we fought for, because voting rights and women's rights and the rights of people against discrimination, whether they're African American, Latino, lesbian, and gay, must be protected. Until we have a nation that is really living up to the creed of one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not all of one kind, but all.
Wow. What? Even when it's scripted from Al, it's a little confusing. And frankly, Al, I'm shocked. I'm frankly shocked that Al Sharpton said we have to make sure that we have equal rights for all, not only African Americans, Latinos, and he said lesbian and gay. Let's see. Let me write this down. LGBT. Al, you left off the BT of LGBT. I'm shocked. You know what? Actually, I'm offended, Al, because you said lesbian and gay. What about bisexual and transgender, Al? They don't call it LGBT for their own, fun and games. Are you suggesting that just LG and not BT, Al? Why couldn't you have said LGBT, Al? Is there some hidden agenda there, Al? You're the one calling for liberty and justice and protection for all, yet you single out lesbians and gays with African Americans and Hispanics, call for all, but leave out of that grouping of LGBT the B and the T. I'm shocked, Al. I'm shocked. I'm sure you were called onto the carpet at MS. I'm sure they read you the Riot Act, Al, and you threatened no justice, no peace. And they said, oh, we're only kidding, Al. And you'll be on the air tonight. I don't even know what I'm saying. I want you to hear what Chris Christie said when we come back from break. I want you to listen to what Chris Christie said to Brian Williams. Brian Williams asked him a very good question, I thought. Okay, a very good question about being a Republican and running in the Republican primaries for president, if he chooses to go that way. And I'll let you hear the answer from Christie, and then I will address the answer that Christie gave, as only I can. It's Friday. No jacket. You know what? Maybe 1 week we'll go without the tie. No. That's like, let's see, jacket, shirt, and tie. That's the JST look. So right now, just like, Al left off the BT from LGBT, we've left off the J from the JST. And if we go with just S, we're leaving out the J and the T. You following me, Al? We're coming back, because now I'm confused. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A tragic fire, a break-in, a fall. Look, accidents and emergencies really do happen. The difference between life and death could be as simple as the push of a button. That's where Medical Guardian comes in. Are you afraid that something tragic may happen with no one around to help? What if you or your elderly loved one had a fall and lay for hours or even days before any help arrived? What if it was just too late? You don't have to live in fear that something terrible could happen. It's time you discovered Medical Guardian. Life-saving help at the push of a button. Get the peace of mind you need for yourself and your loved ones. Call 800-550-3470 right now. Be one of the first 100 callers and get your first month of Medical Guardian free. 800-550-3470. Call now and get your first month for free. The help you need is at your fingertips. Ensure your safety today with Medical Guardian. 800-550-3470. That's 800-550-3470.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming right back right now early. Jay Carney with the White House press briefing, answering questions about the ABC story where the revelations were made about the talking points. Let's go to it as soon as we can. All right, we're efforting the audio.
And
Here we
administrative. administration officials about what we knew and not going beyond what we knew. So the assertions...
I mean, the language of that email is pretty clear. And the response is pretty clear in terms of saying we want to address Victoria Nuland's concerns. No matter who ended up providing the talking points in the end, it certainly seems clear that there was an influence by the White House and the State Department on the CIA talking points.
But again, I think you're conflating a couple of things here. The White House, as I said, made one minor change to the talking points drafted by and produced by the CIA, and even prior to that, had very few inputs on it. The other discussions that went on prior to this in an interagency process reflected the concerns of a variety of agencies who had a stake in this issue, both the FBI, because it was investigating the CIA, obviously, and other intelligence agencies, and the State Department, because an ambassador had been killed and a diplomatic facility had been attacked. And what I think the concern was is that these points not provide information that was speculative in terms of whether it was relevant to what happened. And the what could not be known at that time was the relevance of issues about warnings. Was the relevant? I mean, there's the discussion about the Republicans, again, in this ongoing effort that began hours after the attacks, when Mitt Romney put out a press release to try to take political advantage out of these deaths.
Ignore the man behind the curtain, folks, because there's no story here.
In a move that was maligned even by members of his own party. And from that day forward, there has been this effort to politicize it. And if you look at the issue here, the efforts to politicize it were always about, were we trying to play down the fact that there was an act of terror and an attack on the embassy. And the problem has always been with that assertion is that it's completely hollow, because the president himself in the Rose Garden said this was an act of terror.
He did not say that.
He talked about it
He did not say that. Boy, they just keep lying, don't they, folks?
2001. He talked, and then we had other officials of the administration refer to this as a terrorist act. Susan Rice, when she went out on the Sunday shows, using the very talking points that we're discussing now, talked about the possibility. We knew that, or we believed, based on the intelligence assessment, that extremists were involved, and there were suspicions about what affiliations those
they got to be kidding me, folks. Carney
it was not hard, concrete
squirming,
evidence. And so Ambassador Rice,
you got to be kidding. Keep it up.
Those shows talked about the possibility that Al-Qaeda might be involved, or other Al-Qaeda affiliates might be involved, or non-Al-Qaeda Libyan extremists. Which I think demonstrates that there was no effort to play that down. It was simply a reflection of, we did not, and the intelligence community did not, and others within the administration.
Let's see how long he could go with an answer to try to shut the press up from asking another question. He's babbling and rambling, and wow, I can't believe what he's saying.
Concerned about how Congress would react, a factor in what went into those talking points.
Again, I think if you look at the development of the talking points, the answer to that is no, because the talking points reflect the intelligence community's assessment of what happened, and all the other issues about who was responsible, what specific organizations may have participated, what information was available or threats were known about the situation in Libya or in Benghazi specifically. I mean, all of that was part of an investigation and was, again, provided to Congress and as we learn more, to the public by the administration. April.
Jay, since you say this is a minor change in venue, the wording change in venue, why such a big deal today with this deep background off the record briefing? It makes it seem like...
Well, let's be clear, it wasn't off the record, and that was an erroneous report. But well, I mean, it's a big deal because Republicans have chosen, in the latest iteration of their efforts to politicize this, to provide, leak this information to reporters, information that we provided months ago to
This is all a Republican plot, ladies and gentlemen. The truth for anyone willing to listen is that this is a vast right-wing conspiracy. Remember that one from Hillary.
Out of this. But the problem with that effort is that it's never been clear what it is they think they're accusing the administration of doing, because when it comes to who was responsible, we were very open about what we knew, what we thought we knew, what we did for a fact know, and the fact that this was an ongoing investigation, and we would certainly learn more that would change our view of what had happened in Benghazi.
Understanding that, but it seems like there's been fuel added to the fire. If this was such a minor issue, why not just tell the press like you did from the podium just a few minutes ago, instead of having this background briefing with a select few and not the whole group right now, if it's such a minor issue?
Well, again, I think I talked. I'm here right now to take your questions about this
see,
issue.
there was a closed-door briefing with
briefings
select members of the
14
media,
news
folks,
organizations were represented,
and this woman in the press is not too happy about it.
Do regularly at both parties. And as I said at the top, it's not a replacement for this briefing, and that's why I'm here taking your questions. Yeah, Jim.
Jay, how do you go from a conversation that was apparently happening between various administration officials, various officials of this government on September 14th, and in those emails, in that email exchange, there's a discussion about a group, Ansar al-Sharia, and then after Victoria Nuland raises concerns on the part of the State Department, that references to that group are then removed from the conversation and don't make their way into the talking points. That is not a stylistic edit. That is not a single adjustment, as you said back in November. That is a major, dramatic change in the information.
No, I appreciate the question and the opportunity again to make clear that the CIA produced talking points that was a result of an interagency process on the morning of that Saturday morning.
But when you say
and to that talking points, let me just finish this, and then you can follow up. But then they produce, and from that and
from pressure from other parties that were involved.
I would point you to the numerous statements by the top officials at the CIA, making clear that they wrote the talking points, that they believed that those talking points represented what they knew to the best of their knowledge at that time, and did not include things that they could not be concretely sure of. Ansar al-Sharia is a good example. If you remember, in the wake of these attacks, there was an initial claim of responsibility by that group, and a lot of people rushed out and said, well, this is the group that's responsible. Then that group withdrew the claim of responsibility. Now neither is dispositive. That's why it needs to be investigated. So what we knew
they're going to investigate it, folks. You see, they're going to investigate this. Oh, that's good.
But we knew that extremists were participants, and that's what the talking point said. And again, there's the idea, Jim, if I could, if the idea
the talking point said it was the video, folks, the video. Remember the video.
Is somehow hiding the ball. I mean, does anybody in this room not understand that extremists in Libya means the kind of people who would attack a U.S. diplomatic facility?
But if you go back to what Susan Rice was talking about during those talk shows, she may have left open the possibility of extremists. But this is an altogether different thing.
Well, actually, Jim, as I just said, on those Sunday shows, she talked about Ansar al-Sharia. She talked about the fact that they may be responsible. She talked about the fact that al-Qaeda could be responsible. Or other al-Qaeda-linked affiliates. So what she did not say is that we know for a fact that they're responsible. And that's why in the basic talking points, again, this is all about talking points. This is not about the facts of the investigation or all of the information that has been provided to Congress in countless hearings, countless pieces of information and documents have been provided. I think 20,000, 25,000 pages of documents. This was just the talking points.
As you know, when this attack in the White House.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching or listening to Jay Carney at his White House press briefing, which was delayed for well over an hour. Because the president, well, let's see, the White House at least, I guess Carney, met with select reporters behind closed doors and gave them an off-the-record briefing. And now he's holding his press briefing. Let's continue for a few more minutes.
Yes, it may have been the White House that made a single adjustment, and perhaps it was the CIA that drafted these talking points. But that's sort of glossing over the fact that you had all of these other parties involved. These were not stylistic edits, Jay. This is very much a content driven change.
Well, let me just make clear. I do stand by that when we were talking about the talking points that were produced by the CIA and provided to members of Congress on the Intelligence Committee in the House who had asked for it and others, as well as folks in the administration, that document there was a suggested edit that was accepted by the White House, and that was a change from, to make it factual, the calling of the building in Benghazi a consulate, because it was not a consulate, to diplomatic post or facility, I can't remember which. prior to that, but there had been a lot of discussion and iterative process where the various issues were discussed about what could be or should be said publicly, what we know, what we're just speculating about. And that process involved a whole bunch of agencies. It's also the case that in that process, the White House involvement in the talking points was very limited and non-substantive. But the issues that you mentioned had to do with limiting the talking points to what we knew as opposed to speculation about what may or may not have been, in the end, relevant to what happened in Benghazi. John.
Jay, you told us that the only changes that were made were stylistic. Is it a stylistic change to take out all references to previous terror threats in Benghazi?
Well, I appreciate the question again, and I think that what I was referring to was the talking points that the CIA drafted and sent around, to which one change was made. And I accept that stylistic may not precisely describe a change of one word to another.
Jay, this was not a change of one word to another.
I'm just...
These underwent extensive changes after they were written by the CIA.
Sure.
These were concerns that were raised by the State Department that the White House directed the interagency process to use in making these talking points.
Well, I think
the CIA original version included references to Al-Qaeda, references to Ansar al-Islam. The original CIA version included extensive discussion of the previous threats of terrorist attacks in Benghazi. Those were taken out after the CIA wrote its initial draft.
And then the CIA wrote another draft.
Based on input from the State Department.
Well, but here's what I've been saying,
Do you
John.
deny that?
No, John, what I'm saying is, and I've answered this question several times now, but I'm happy to answer it again if you let me answer it, and that is that there was an interagency process, which is always the case, because a lot of agencies have a stake in a matter like this. The investigative agency,
all right,
the CIA, the intelligence
folks, so
agencies,
you get the drift here. He's not answering the questions, at least not to my satisfaction, and not to the satisfaction of many in that press briefing room, although, again, some of the privileged ones had a private press briefing before this for the public. When we come back, Victoria Townsend, the attorney for Greg Hicks, who makes some huge accusations against the State Department. We made news with it. You're not going to want to miss it on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.
If you owe the IRS back taxes and they're making your life miserable, get ready for a special free offer. Expert tax advisors can help you protect your home from liens, stop wage garnishment, and give you immediate collection relief. In fact, we guarantee to contact the IRS within 30 minutes of you becoming a client to start the tax relief process. Don't try to take on the most powerful organization in the United States by yourself. Call for free tax relief information and a free consultation on how we can help you. There is no cost or obligation to discover the programs that are available to stop your IRS problems from getting worse. Call our toll-free helpline now, 800-390-6910. That's 800-390-6910. The IRS will not go away. The pressure you feel now will only grow. Get the help you deserve. Call for a free no-obligation consultation now. Tax relief is just a phone call away. Call expert tax advisors at 800-390-6910. That's 800-390-6910.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Questions when it comes to what happened in Benghazi, Libya, September 11th of last year. Jake Tapper will be all over it this next hour. That does it for me here in a very...
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. House Speaker John Boehner calls on President Obama to release more information about the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi. This, while a new report from ABC News says there were 12 different versions of the talking points first written by the CIA, which were later handed out to Congress and UN Ambassador Susan Rice before she went on 5 Sunday talk shows just days after the attack. Also, the report says those talking points were changed by State Department officials to remove any references to al-Qaeda or terrorism. Those also, according to those same White House emails. That's just one of the reasons why Boehner made this public plea to President Obama.
And I would call on the President to release these unclassified interagency emails so that the American people can see them.
Those same emails also appear to contradict the claims of White House Press Secretary Jay Carney that the talking points were only edited for style. And in Cleveland, Ariel Castro is now being held on suicide watch, and soon he could face charges that could bring the death penalty. He's already charged with kidnapping and raping 3 women for a decade. The suspect's distraught mother, Lillian Rodriguez, expressed her remorse for the kidnapping victims. She asked for forgiveness from the women and their mothers and called her own son sick. Also, Castro's own daughter said that he is, quote, dead to her. Prosecutors say Castro could get the death penalty if he is convicted of causing the early termination of his victims' pregnancies while they were held captive in his home. And President Obama uses Mother's Day to push for his namesake health care legislation. The president is talking about how he believes the law helps mothers and families. But House Republicans will also be talking about the health care law next week. They plan to vote yet again to repeal Obamacare for the 38th time. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, former CIA Director Michael Hayden joins us for an exclusive interview about the latest developments in the Benghazi investigation. And a woman pulled from certain death 17 years after one of the worst industrial accidents in recent history. How she survived. Next.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
And welcome back. The body of Boston bombing suspect Tamerlan Tsarnaev is now in the ground. Police in Massachusetts say an anonymous person arranged for the burial. And at a hearing on Capitol Hill, Boston's police commissioner said the FBI never informed him it had investigated Tamerlan Tsarnaev for ties to terrorists.
Would you have liked to have known about that?
Yes.
Were you aware that Mr. Tamerlan traveled to the Chechen region?
No, we were not.
Davis also said that several of his officers served on a terrorism task force that was supposed to foster better communication between federal and local authorities. And there's no other word for this story than miraculous. Rescuers were able to free a woman who had been buried alive for 17 days in Bangladesh. And get this, she was found in the prayer room in the basement of that collapsed factory. Her only injury is a lack of food and water. Meanwhile, the death toll is now higher than 1,000, and rescuers say this woman is a survivor and a symbol of hope. And during a Newsmax exclusive, General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA, says he can't understand why the White House would continue to press forward with a false narrative on Benghazi. He also called this week's congressional hearings gripping.
I mean, this is the first time we've had a chance to talk to people who actually lived through the event. So on a human level, this was very dramatic stuff, and one feels again the pain of that day, and particularly the pain of the people who were on the ground. I think of Benghazi as a play, a tragedy.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. And right now, this is pretty great to see. The Freedom Tower at One World Trade Center is now officially the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere as crews added the spire today. Have a great weekend. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Allow the RSO, the acting deputy chief of mission, and myself to be personally interviewed by Congressman Chaffetz.
So the people at State told you don't talk to the guy who's coming to investigate?
Yes, sir.
Said don't talk with the congressman? Now you've had several congressional delegations come to various places you've been around the world. Has that ever happened where lawyers get on the phone to you prior to a congressional delegation coming to investigate a time when we've had 4 Americans lose their lives? Have you ever had anyone tell you don't talk with the people from Congress coming to find out what took place?
Never.
All right, folks, that was Congressman Jim Jordan and, of course, Greg Hicks testifying before the House Oversight Committee on the Benghazi situation, and the attorney representing Mr. Hicks, who did such a wonderful job along with the 2 others, Victoria Townsend, is back with us. Hello, Victoria. How are you?
Good day.
Good
to be with you again.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, here we are 2 days now removed. We'll get to the news of the day with the new revelations of the State Department basically just scrubbing those talking points as they originally existed and making them into their own. But talk about the testimony and what I see is really significant, you want to call them bombshells to come out of Wednesday's hearings, not the least of which was the fact that your client said that he was told by the State Department not to cooperate with Congressman Chaffetz, who was coming to talk to him and others about what happened in Libya.
He was not supposed to get alone with him at all. Absolutely not to have any kind of interview alone with him, which is unprecedented. That just never happens. It's always when a CODEL comes in, the CODEL meets with the ambassador one-on-one. And then he also committed an unforgivable sin as he took Congressman Chaffetz on a security tour of Tripoli embassy so that he could see what the problems were and what the issues were. Then the minder that was supposed to always be present was kept out of a classified briefing because the minder didn't have the necessary clearances. So, but Greg Hicks didn't keep him out. It was the chief of the annex who kept him out. Anyway, that's when Cheryl Mills called Mr. Hicks and chewed him out royally. How dare you? You know, you didn't keep things under cap. You gave a security tour. Weren't supposed to do any of that.
Yeah.
So,
and she demanded to know everything that happened in the meeting that the State Department official was not allowed into.
Yes, yes. And then he came back into the meeting and requested, after being chewed out like that, could they just bring in the minder? So then everybody broke up the meeting. That's what happened there. But then, within a couple of weeks, guess what happened? He's back in Washington, D.C. for the memorial service for the ambassador. And Beth Jones, Assistant Secretary Beth Jones, his immediate superior, and the person whom he first complained about Ambassador Rice's talking points, calls him in her office and chews him out, saying, the ambassador doesn't want you there. That was the acting ambassador. And I don't know why any of the employees would want you back there. So he got the hint. I mean, he didn't need to
Right. So he got demoted, correct?
He did get demoted, and you know what? That nasty State Department, who has no integrity, shame on John Kerry for not taking charge of this, puts out, well, he still has the same pay. And they lied this morning in the Washington Post, telling somebody who just took what they said, that he sought the desk job that he describes as a demotion. No, he did not. Here's what happened, and people need to know this. He was offered a choice: no job, or this job that doesn't mean anything. It's a desk job. It's like going from like a co-anchor to the copy desk.
So he was given two choices. You're saying either take a hike, you're fired, or take this desk job.
Right. I say it's like telling a starving man, hey, you get this choice. You can either have no food or you get this rotten steak. What would you like? Would you like a rotten piece of beef or no food at all? So
my description is correct. And I'm hearing you right. He was either offered, either you get to lose your job and have no job and you're unemployed from here, or you take this lesser position at the same pay. That's what he was told.
Yeah, and they had the audacity to tell Melinda Henningsberger, and she put it right in the Post, well, administration officials say he stuffed the desk job he describes as a demotion. They are, it's just little old me out here, and they've got all taxpayers' money, the whole press office and the whole general counsel's office trying to do him in. It's outrageous.
Well, Lisa Myers today was on Morning Joe, and she said that she interpreted and that the White House must be concerned and scared, and that people are getting nervous because they're now saying that he did not get demoted. And this is the tactic we've seen over the years. The messenger, you got to destroy the messenger, and this is what they're trying to do to Greg Hicks.
They say it's old news. That's number one, and then they go out and try to destroy the messenger. I had some silly blogger call me, that he was going to write a hit piece on him. And I just, you can't deal with it all. They're getting all their little minions out there to do bad things. And I just hope the press gets sophisticated enough that they stop it.
All right. We're talking to Victoria Townsend, the attorney for Greg Hicks. Now, you have another client who, go ahead.
No. My husband has a client.
Okay, Joe DeGenova. Okay, and there's a fourth quote-unquote whistleblower who wants to do the same thing, wants to testify. But does this relate to what you told me last time? You couldn't get the proper security clearance to get this done?
Well, those are specific things. I don't know anything about a fourth whistleblower.
Okay.
That really the committee deals with that. But the State Department is just making so many false statements. Last week they said I was lying about getting my clearance.
Right.
Guess what? I still don't have the proper top secret clearance to do to get the information my client wants to give me. I have, and so does Joe, secret clearance, which is not at all. You just can't get the information you need. So they're playing games again. And think about what else they did. On Tuesday, do you know that same spokesman, Ventrell, would not even verify the credibility of those three witnesses? I mean, that's he should be ashamed.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. A quick reaction to what we have learned today. ABC News, I think, was the first to break it, talking about the fact that the report before Susan Rice read it was changed 12 times, and the State Department wanted all references and got all references to al-Qaeda, terrorism, etc., all scrubbed because they didn't want Republicans to have any ammunition to make anybody look bad, basically, is what it comes down to.
Hey, what about that crack ARB? That board that went in, did that investigation, and made a report, and everything was supposed to be fine.
You mean the one that didn't talk to Hillary?
The one that didn't talk to Hillary,
yeah.
Did not talk to Joe's client, even though he asked twice, and he was the person that was in charge of the counterterrorism team to go rescue. He asked twice, and they kept him out of all the meetings the night of the attack, wouldn't let him in. And then, the process? Are you aware of the process the ARB used? When they interviewed Greg Hicks, they did not have a stenographer. They had note takers in the meeting. And then they didn't even let Mr. Hicks look at those notes. They didn't even ever let him see them to approve them. They never let him see the unclassified report before it was issued, and they still have not let him read the classified report. Now,
Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? Victoria, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just one for quickly, where do we go from here? Where do you think this is headed? Will we hear from your client again under oath? What's going to happen?
I think that there are more people out there, so we should hear from them. I've said time and time again, do the Republicans know how to spell subpoena?
Yep. Well, a nice one committee doing it all would be nice. Hey, thank you for your time, Victoria. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. That's Victoria Townsend, ladies and gentlemen, representing Greg Hicks. Just amazing. Amazing. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Hey, could bring down the administration, John Bolton said, and the man may be correct on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. By the way, that press conference with Jay Carney ended, or at least it moved off the topic of Benghazi. He was squirming, and he repeated again. It's what you got to do. I was waiting for him to hear. I was waiting for him, and he almost basically said that the real story here, for anyone willing to see it, is the vast right-wing conspiracy. That's what he did. He said, he repeated over and over again that the Republicans have been looking from the minute the attack happened to politicize this, blah, 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 over and over and over and over again. But Jay Carney is the one who said back in November that only one change was made in the talking points. One. By the White House and the State Department combined. And that was to change consulate to embassy or whatever, or embassy to consulate or vice versa, one of those things. That's what he said. And now he's being forced to confront that and change the story. And that's what he's doing. Okay. I want you to hear Brian Williams. Brian Williams, the man who has the weight of the world upon his shoulders. It's the albatross around his neck because he is charged with informing all of us peons, all of us ignorant common people, about these complicated stories that he has to report on every night, and he has to make them simple enough for you and I to understand. That Brian Williams. Okay. Brian Williams asking Chris Christie this in cut 59.
Is it a fair question to ask that if you ran as a Republican for President of the United States, what Republican Party do you see that would support your candidacy out there right now? How would you survive a primary process in the current setup of the Republican Party?
Listen, I think very well. I'll worry about the presidency if and when I ever decide to run for it. But if you're saying to me, how do I feel as a Republican? I'm a damn good Republican and a good conservative Republican who believes in things that I believe in. But that does not mean that I would ever put party before my state or party before my country.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's a damn good Republican compared to what? Compared to whom? I wrote a piece October of 2011 called Chris Christie for President, Only If We Have To. It was for a paper that I was writing for at the time in New Jersey, Garden State Journal. If you Google Garden State Journal, you could still go to it and enter my name in the search, and you'll come up with quite a few of my my little stories here, my columns. And here it is. I supported Chris Christie for governor. I even supported him in the primary challenge against Steve Lonigan and State Senator Cardinal at the time. I had a debate. The last debate the three of them did before the primary back in 4 years ago was in my studio and my show at WOR Radio at the time. And I supported Chris Christie. And then when I used to have Chris Christie on my show, I'd start asking him the tougher questions. And so Chris Christie decided he's not going to come on my show anymore because why should he have to deal with the tougher questions? Like, how do you feel about the Ground Zero mosque proposal? Well, Steve, I'm not going to answer that. I don't think a politician should weigh in. I have in this story, I think, as I wrote, what about the proposed Ground Zero mosque, Governor? I would have expected that a man representing a state that had lost nearly 700 people on 9/11 would have at least have an opinion, but he did not. Christie told me it wasn't his place or any politician's place to get involved in the issue. And that's just one. That's just one. Let's see where we start. If I could go here. When he wanted to become governor, okay, he was a frequent guest. When he did appear, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I asked him why New Jersey didn't sign on to the lawsuit against Obamacare in New Jersey. He told me at the time it was too expensive, and he would let the other 20-some-odd states go at it, and we, New Jersey, would reap the benefits without having to pay to join the lawsuit. So I had the Attorney General of the great state of Texas on my show, subsequently, who was spearheading the whole lawsuit. He was one of the key attorneys spearheading the whole thing. And I asked him how much it would cost if New Jersey wanted to sign on. He said it would cost a few $1,000s. A few $1,000 to a state? That's a penny. But New Jersey, we can't afford it right now, Steve, so we're not going to sign on. Okay. Then there was the mosque. What else was there from this good Republican, Chris Christie? Several months later, he nominated Sohail Mohammed to a Superior Court judgeship. I'm reading because it's easy to recall the facts that way. A position that the judge now holds in Passaic County, New Jersey. And as I wrote, I have no problem with a man being a Muslim. I have a problem with what Muhammad believes. For example, after the arrest of the suspects of the Fort Dick Six, remember the Fort Dick Six? There were 6 Muslim men charged with plotting to kill as many of our soldiers as possible at the New Jersey Fort Dix facility. Muhammad, who's now a judge, thanks to Christie, objected to the government referring to these Islamists would-be terrorists as Islamic. He said that religion had nothing to do with it. So this is the man Chris Christie picks to be a Superior Court justice, a man who has denied that religion has any part in terrorism. You tell me, good Republican, huh? Let's keep going on. Global warming. A few years ago, he wasn't so sure. But by 2011, with the White House in sight, he says climate change is real, and we are a big part of the problem. On illegal immigration, as U.S. Attorney General, Christie once said that being in this country without documentation is not a crime unless you are kicked out and then come back in, then it's a crime. Sounds like a real Republican to me. So these are just some. Global warming, immigration, I believe gay marriage too. He vetoed a gay marriage bill, but he wants it on the ballot. Why not just leave it alone? He knows that in a liberal state like Jersey, they would pass it on the ballot. He will not win a Republican primary if Republicans around the country are educated about his views, his policies, and who he is as a politician. Now, he's done some fiscally good things. He's taken on the teachers union. That's good. But that's not enough. That's not enough at all. So, Chris Christie, I'm glad he's getting healthier. God bless him. I hope he wins in November when he runs for governor again. I don't want a Democratic governor in my state. It's bad enough with Christie. I like that. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. Next hour. What am I saying next hour? It's not 5. It's not the top of the hour yet. Noel Sheppard, Newsbusters.org, as he and I present Malzberg's Media Madness. Did you hear what David Letterman said about lesbians? You know, if I said that about lesbians, there'd be an uproar. Chad has similar views from what I'm told, but we can't go there right now. All right, we'll talk about David Letterman. We'll talk about the media lack of coverage on Gosnell, Benghazi, you name it. When the Steve Malzberg Show continues, Malzberg's Media Madness, straight ahead. Don't you go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. 888-848-3030.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if it's Friday and it's the middle of the show, which means the bottom of the second hour, 4:32 Eastern Time, it must be time for Malzberg's Media Madness and Noel Sheppard, Associate Editor of Newsbusters.org. Hey, Noel, welcome back. I'll try that again. Hey, Noel, welcome back.
Hello, how are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. I got scared for a second. So, unfortunately, we have nothing to talk about today, and no news, and I'll see you next week. Okay, first of all, something that, and you've got so many great hits on Newsbusters that we're going to get to, some with sound, but we emailed each other beforehand. Of course, Jay Carney took a beating in his press conference a little while ago, but prior to that, it was revealed by Politico, and it was addressed at the press conference, that this administration held a private, closed-door press briefing with a select few members of the press to respond to the big ABC story today on the talking points regarding Benghazi.
Yeah, I'm sure, as you noticed, although you may have been on the air, Carney said, no, this wasn't closed door, and this wasn't off the record. So, I don't know what to make of this. Look, the Benghazi story now is dissembling. The administration clearly is in a lot of trouble on this. I mean, what's interesting is you even had MSNBC commentators this morning saying that the administration is looking bad on this. So, which is interesting. You've got liberal commentators saying the administration is looking bad, yet the supposedly conservative commentator or anchor on MSNBC, Joe Scarborough, thinks that this is all much ado about nothing. So we really are in an alternate universe today.
Yeah, well, not that alternate, because during a commercial break or during the top of the hour, when MSNBC cut out of the press conference, Martin Bashir's show with Finney and some professor, African-American, this is nothing. This is all designed to, this is ridiculous. Maybe they made a little change, but, this is nothing. So it's not all that alternate, not completely.
No, well, look, we're not going to completely alter MSNBC, but it is very, very shocking when anybody on that network isn't specifically defending the Obama administration. Shocking.
Absolutely. Now, you talk about two things related to MSNBC. First of all, the Benghazi hearings on Wednesday, MSNBC gave no live coverage to the hearings. They gave Hillary's testimony where she famously said, "What difference does it make?" 5.5 hours back in January and praised her performance, but nothing on Wednesday.
Nothing. Yeah, you know, MSNBC at this point, I mean, we talk about them every Friday, and it's really come time now for the cable providers and the satellite dish companies to remove MSNBC from proximity in their channel guides to CNN, Fox, CNBC, Headline News, C-SPAN, etc. This is so far from a news organization at this point, it's absurd. And, you know, the other thing that's kind of interesting, I think, what was very, very interesting, is on Wednesday, MSNBC actually came in fourth. Now, this was one of the biggest news days of the year. Obviously, the biggest news day was the Boston bombing. This is probably the second largest, busiest news day of the year because of the Benghazi trials. This was, of course, on Wednesday.
Right.
Jodi Arias' verdict coming in, and more information about the Cleveland kidnapper. And yet, there's MSNBC in dead last, behind, of course, Fox, CNN, and then Headline News. And in the demo, you know, between 25 and 54, there were shows that actually quintupled MSNBC's primetime numbers. Quintupled. And you know, for those from Rio Linda, that means 5 times.
Yeah,
to make a little, you know, poke at Rush.
Yes. Well, absolutely. And I was going to get to that story that came out today at Newsbusters by you also on MSNBC as a follow-up. You're absolutely right. Dead last.
Dead
one
last.
of the biggest news days of the year. And it is so telling. And let me jump to something. This is my personal own gripe. This Chris Hayes person. And I want to make it perfectly clear, I'm not talking about his sexuality. I have no idea what his sexuality is. But to me, as a person, the package, it's so sanitized. Not that there's not a political bent, but it's almost as if they could take a robot and spew these highly intellectual, you know, either opinions or facts or numbers or stories, and read the prompt. There's no personality. There's never a smile. It's like like they pump the information in one end and it comes out the mouth. It's just there's nothing to him.
Yeah, he's a boring male version of Rachel Maddow. Kind of, yeah. Right. Well, and he looks a lot like Rachel. I mean, they really do look like they could be, you know, twin brother and sister. They're very, very similar. I think what's happened at MSNBC and why they moved him up and they kicked Ed Schultz out was, I think Rachel Maddow right now has a lot of power at MSNBC. She's their number one rated primetime host. Everybody thinks that she's the smartest in the world, irrespective of how many times we at Newsbusters and the Media Research Center show that she's quite often very inaccurate.
You guys do a great job with that very often.
So I think that what happened here is that he's her protege, much like she was kind of Keith Olbermann's protege. And I think, you know, with Olbermann gone, Maddow now is the queen of MSNBC. And I think that she had, and by the way, I have no information on this. This is total speculation on my part. But I think that they're trying to, everybody wants to go after the demo. It's all 25 to 54. And she does extremely well 25 to 54, as of course does Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert over on Comedy Central. It's all about 25 to 54, and I think they felt that Schultz was too old in that time slot, and that Hayes as a Maddow protege was going to set her up nicely. And what's interesting is since he's come on board, her numbers are down. Right. His numbers are way down from what Schultz did.
Right.
I just don't. I think what you've got now is you've got 2 hours, 2 consecutive hours, right in the middle of prime time, starting at 8 o'clock East Coast time, going into 9 o'clock, of these kind of wonkish, unattractive. Unattractive is not the right word. They're not necessarily attractive men and women. And they're very, very wonkish in their style. It's a lot of numbers, and I like that style. It doesn't bother me, but I don't think that the 25 to 54-year-old set is enjoying this 2-hour period. I think they've shot themselves in the foot by bringing him on board.
I agree with you. And again, Rachel Maddow, at least, I think, and I don't watch her all that often because I can't get sick to my stomach and upset.
Right.
But she at least has a personality a little bit more. But Hayes, it's nothing. It's all he wants to do is talk and talk and talk. He get as much in as he could, and it's no appeal there. Anyway, I don't want to.
I think it worked better on Saturday. I mean, he had a very interesting Saturday program. And on Sunday, and I think it worked better. I don't think he's a primetime guy. He's not ready for primetime.
Yeah. All right. Now Dennis Miller was on with O'Reilly, and he made a very interesting point. And we could talk about the CBS reporter who is now incurring the wrath of the CBS brass because they say she's got an agenda on Benghazi. Very interesting. Let's go to cut 61 if we can, Will, and listen to what Dennis Miller said about journalists, anybody who might dare to try to bring down Barack Obama or Hillary.
And the press isn't going to go after this story, Bill. A lot of people in the press, maybe some guy on the internet will break it eventually. But you realize Woodward and Bernstein became Woodward and Bernstein because what they did to Nixon. The key thing in that equation was Nixon. You had a free rein on him. You can't go after this guy. You won't get Woodward and Bernstein status. You'll be out of the game. If you're the one who brings down Barack Obama, you will be out of the game. And if you go after Hillary, who's going to run the next 8 years, you'll be more out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, very well said.
Very well said. And we've got Cheryl Atkinson, as you said, of CBS News, who's taking a tremendous amount of wrath. And what's interesting is the MRC did a study. She hadn't been on the air discussing Benghazi
in months, right?
Since November.
What is that about then?
Right. Now, by the way, on the air, I think that she had done some writing on the subject at CBSNews.com, I believe, although don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But she hadn't been on the air discussing this, so she finally does in May and in April, or excuse me, in May, and the folks are calling this advocacy. Look, we know what this means. We know that they wanted Benghazi to be completely ignored prior to the election. They did a great job of that, and that was for Obama's sake. Now they know they really need to get this off of the front pages and off of the headlines for Hillary Clinton's sake, because this conceivably could be a very, very strong talking point in 2016, especially if Hillary ends up getting some kind of a challenge. I mean, the conventional wisdom at this point in time is if she runs, she's going to suck all of the oxygen out of the room, and no one's going, I mean, even Biden, no one's going to want to try to compete against her.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true. A guy like Biden at this point, this is conceivably his last shot, and his numbers right now are looking pretty darn good. So if he were to run against her, this Benghazi story is going to come up, and we haven't heard the end of this.
No, absolutely not. But again, with a fair press, Joe Biden never would have been allowed to continue in that race anyway. All right, let's go to Jonathan Alter before we get to David Letterman. We're saving lesbians for last, folks. Call it discrimination. I don't care. Jonathan Alter on MSNBC, again on Martin Bashir's show, talking about how sequestration could kill people. Cuts 46. This will be cut 46. Will, let's give it a shot here.
Pretty much all of these agencies could close some programs, consolidate programs, save some money. Obama's for that, Democrats are for that. But to just kind of say that arbitrarily everything has to be cut, what ends up happening is, look at these people on dialysis. They get rides to their kidney dialysis programs. If they don't get there for their dialysis treatment, they can die.
There you go. That kidney dialysis patients won't be able to get a ride for their treatment, and they're going to die because of sequestration.
Do you know that even with sequestration, we're going to spend more in fiscal 2013, excuse me, we're going to spend 28% more in fiscal 2013 than we did in fiscal 2008.
Right, it's like the FAA budget.
Exactly.
They were still getting more after sequestration than Obama proposed in the 2013 budget that they get.
Look, we all knew, we knew at the time when Porculus was first being discussed, we knew that this was, and they were guaranteeing this is just one-time emergency spending.
Right.
We knew that was a lie. We knew that was going to become the new baseline from which future budgets were going to be created, and this is exactly what's going to. If this was just one-time emergency spending, what we should be spending in 2013 should be what we spent in 2008. Before stimulus, adjusted for inflation, or maybe a little bit higher than that, but not 28% higher than that. We were taken for a ride, and unfortunately now we're not allowed to put the brakes on at all.
Right, absolutely. All right, we get to the lesbian the situation here, and I thank you for bringing it to our attention, Noel, at newsbusters.org. This is David Letterman, and he's actually sitting there with Michael Strahan, former New York Giant great, host of what is it called, Kelly and Michael? I don't even know what they call that show anymore.
I think it's Kelly and Michael.
Okay.
I could possibly watch that.
Okay,
stuff.
and here's how it went. Cut number 60.
It's part of the world. It's part of humans, and accept it. And let's keep going. It really doesn't do anything to anybody else.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Who cares? I have always. I fancy myself a big supporter of the gay community, and I've always enjoyed lesbians.
Oh, man.
I know.
You know, it's very hard to catch me off guard. You got me right there, man. You got me.
All right, he got Michael Strahan, all right,
Yeah.
and but you make an interesting point though in that. And they were talking about Jason Collins coming out, obviously, in the NBA.
Right. Yeah, to me, if a conservative, and if you made that joke, that could be, you'd be asked to apologize. It could be the end of your career. I mean, it's 2013. We've got X number of states now that are pushing for, or that have already legalized same-sex marriage. You've got folks talking about how same-sex marriage is the civil rights issue of our time. Yet a liberal comedian is allowed to joke about how he's always liked lesbians, or he's enjoyed lesbians.
Enjoyed lesbian. There's a difference.
Enjoyed lesbians. Yes. I'm just not. I just don't think a conservative could say that in 2013 and keep his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Why don't we end it on that note?
Sounds good.
It's always. I won't say what I'm going to say because you just said what you said, and I'm taking it to heart. Anyway, hey Noel, listen, I appreciate it, my friend. A great segment as always, and we'll read your great stories and everybody else's at newsbusters.org, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, and it's Friday. Go enjoy some lesbians.
Bye, Noel.
Bye.
All right. Hey, if it's good enough for David Letterman, it's good enough for Noel Sheppard. What can I tell you? All right. Now I can't think. For some reason, my mind is suddenly clouded with all kinds of, I don't know what, but I'm confused. All right. We're coming back. We have one final segment in this hour. In the next hour, we will be joined by Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, former, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, our buddy, who is a Fox News strategic analyst and great author. His latest book is Hell or Richmond, about the Civil War. It's a Civil War novel, one of many. It's just a great book. And Kendall Coffey, as we go spinning the law. So all that's still straight ahead right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S. specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of the springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire. Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54. With a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Steve Malzberg Show. It is Friday. Coming up in the next hour, we'll talk to Ralph Peters about Benghazi and, of course, the latest revelations. We'll play for you at the top of the hour the ABC News report. I had 2 sound bites. I only played one leading into John Bolton earlier in the show. We'll play both sound bites of Jonathan Karl's exclusive report that he broke on ABC this morning about the talking points being altered. We'll also have Kendall Coffey spinning the law. We'll talk about the Jodi Arias case. We'll talk about the IRS apparently harassing or giving a hard time to groups seeking tax-exempt status if they had the words Patriot or Tea Party in their name. And there's also that morning after pill, where a judge took the opportunity to blast the administration for lowering the age pending appeal to 15, not taking off all age restrictions. So it's a very interesting case still. But something I wanted to touch on that we didn't get to with Noel, Comcast is holding a shareholder meeting in Philadelphia next week, and the Tea Party is planning a protest of the company's so-called news outlets, NBC and MSNBC. This is a story that Noel did on Newsbusters, but I didn't have time to get to. FreedomWorks sent the following email message to about 60,000 Tea Partiers around Philadelphia. Cable provider Comcast is actively supporting Obama's radical leftist agenda to fundamentally transform America. The news programs at NBC and MSNBC, run by Comcast CEO Brian Roberts, reflect total agreement with the Obama agenda. These quote-unquote news organizations even adopted the Obama re-election campaign's Forward slogan. Is this what Comcast subscribers and American voters need? And they talk about Brian Roberts having close ties to Obama. He was selected to serve on the President Jobs and Competitiveness Council, and then on and on and on. And they tell you where it's going to be. If you're in the Philadelphia area, it's going to be May 15th, starting at 8 a.m. at the Kimmel Center for Performing Arts, Perlman Theater, 300 South Broad Street, Philadelphia, PA. So this is interesting. I wonder how many people. I think we played you sound bites not too long ago from the Disney shareholder meeting, which I probably got off of Newsbusters or CNS News, one of the two. And a gentleman in the crowd took Bob Iger, the president of Disney ABC, to task for, presenting one-sided news, etc. And he heard the guy out. The guy said he thought it was hurting because you're alienating, he said, half the audience out there. By taking a political stand, by taking a political leaning in the news broadcasts and other programming, he said you're alienating half the audience, half the potential audience. And he thinks it hurts share price. He thinks it hurts, revenues and et cetera, ability to secure advertising. And Iger heard him out, and Iger disagreed with him, which is his prerogative to do. We're also going to talk about 2 stories in the next hour. And we got to get to the Hillary shuffle. The Washington Redskins owner says he will never change the team's name. Right on. And no more mom and dad. Mom and dad, the names mom and dad have been terminated by the federal government on one particular form that you have to fill out. We'll tell you what form that is. Yeah, it's parent number 1. Are you parent number 1 or parent number 2? Because you're not mom and dad to the federal government anymore. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. House Speaker John Boehner calls on President Obama to release more information about the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi. This, while a new report from ABC News says there were 12 different versions of the talking points first written by the CIA, which were later handed out to Congress and UN Ambassador Susan Rice before she went on 5 Sunday talk shows just days after the attack. Also, the report says those talking points were changed by State Department officials to remove any references to al-Qaeda or terrorism. Those also, according to those same White House emails. That's just one of the reasons why Boehner made this public plea to President Obama.
And I would call on the President to release these unclassified interagency emails so that the American people can see them.
Those same emails also appear to contradict the claims of White House Press Secretary Jay Carney that the talking points were only edited for style. And in Cleveland, Ariel Castro is now being held on suicide watch, and soon he could face charges that could bring the death penalty. He's already charged with kidnapping and raping 3 women for a decade. The suspect's distraught mother, Lillian Rodriguez, expressed her remorse for the kidnapping victims. She asked for forgiveness from the women and their mothers and called her own son sick. Also, Castro's own daughter said that he is, quote, dead to her. Prosecutors say Castro could get the death penalty if he is convicted of causing the early termination of his victims' pregnancies while they were held captive in his home. And President Obama uses Mother's Day to push for his namesake health care legislation. The president is talking about how he believes the law helps mothers and families. But House Republicans will also be talking about the health care law next week. They plan to vote yet again to repeal Obamacare for the 38th time. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, former CIA Director Michael Hayden joins us for an exclusive interview about the latest developments in the Benghazi investigation. And a woman pulled from certain death 17 years after one of the worst industrial accidents in recent history. How she survived. Next.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
And welcome back. The body of Boston bombing suspect Tamerlan Tsarnaev is now in the ground. Police in Massachusetts say an anonymous person arranged for the burial. And at a hearing on Capitol Hill, Boston's police commissioner said the FBI never informed him it had investigated Tamerlan Tsarnaev for ties to terrorists.
Would you have liked to have known about that?
Yes.
Were you aware that Mr. Tamerlan traveled to the Chechen region?
No, we were not.
Davis also said that several of his officers served on a terrorism task force that was supposed to foster better communication between federal and local authorities. And there's no other word for this story than miraculous. Rescuers were able to free a woman who had been buried alive for 17 days in Bangladesh. And get this, she was found in the prayer room in the basement of that collapsed factory. Her only injury is a lack of food and water. Meanwhile, the death toll is now higher than 1,000, and rescuers say this woman is a survivor and a symbol of hope. And during a Newsmax exclusive, General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA, says he can't understand why the White House would continue to press forward with a false narrative on Benghazi. He also called this week's congressional hearings gripping.
I mean, this is the first time we've had a chance to talk to people who actually lived through the event. So on a human level, this was very dramatic stuff, and one feels again the pain of that day, and particularly the pain of the people who were on the ground. I think of Benghazi as a play, a tragedy.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. And right now, this is pretty great to see. The Freedom Tower at One World Trade Center is now officially the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere as crews added this spire today. Have a great weekend. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's hour number 3. It's Friday. That means we're into the countdown hour. Yeah, let's call it the countdown hour. My problem is I come up with these great little slogans and names, and then they're gone because I just forget about them after I come up with them. Anyway, so we're going to be joined by Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst and great author, when we hit the next segment. And then at the bottom of the hour, it'll be Kendall Coffey as we go spinning the law right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And then before you know it, it's the weekend. Now, a couple of things. Before we play you the report by Jonathan Karl today, which has stirred everything up with regard to Benghazi and the talking points and the cover-up, let me just tell you about a little story here. This is by Todd Starnes. I believe it is. Yes, it is. At foxnews.com. If you're looking for federal student aid, FAFSA, okay, it's a free application for federal student aid. The 2014-2015 FAFSA will provide a new option for dependent applicants to describe their parents' marital status as unmarried and both parents living together. The form will also use terms like parent number 1, which replaces father, mother, step-parent. Parent number 2, father, mother, step-parent, instead of gender-specific terms like mother and father. So in other words, parent 1, parent 2, there's no distinction. You just list them. No longer do they what they do is they take the place of mother, father, step-parent, or stepmother, or stepfather. Parent number 1, parent number 2. All students should be able to apply for federal student aid within a system that incorporates their unique family dynamics, said U.S. Secretary of Education Arne Duncan. The same Arne Duncan who told us that teachers are going to be laid off with sequestration. And when pressed, he pointed to a school district in Georgia, was it? Or Virginia? I forget where it was. West Virginia. And when the reporters investigated that district, the superintendent said, Yeah, we're laying off a couple of teachers. It's got nothing to do with sequestration, but not a joke. It's true. So that Arnie Duncan. These changes will allow us to more precisely calculate federal student aid eligibility based on what a student's whole family is able to contribute and ensure taxpayer dollars are better targeted towards those students who have the most need, as well as provide an inclusive form that reflects the diversity of American families. Because, ladies and gentlemen, who are we if we're not a country full of immigrants and a diverse nation? You know what gets me? Let me digress for a second here. By the way, the director of a policy for the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Network told the Washington Blade the change would ensure that sexual orientation and gender identity would not be used to discriminate against students. Students aren't getting aid now because of discrimination from the federal government because their parents are gay or something? Really? So now you get rid of mother and father? It's insane. It is insane. But when I hear this, we're a nation of immigrants. Are you an immigrant? You might be. I'm not. My mother's not. My father wasn't. We're a nation of immigrants. Really? I don't know how many people working here in this room are immigrants in my vast mass media complex here at Newsmax. We are a nation that welcomed people. People came from all different parts of the world to escape persecution. And yes, we welcomed a great immigrant population. My grandparents were immigrants. Most people's grandparents at my age were immigrants. But does that mean once you're born here, you're still an immigrant? That's why this fallacy, this nonsense that we are a nation of immigrants. Really? I'm not an immigrant. Majority of Americans, I believe, are not immigrants. They were born here. So how are we a nation of immigrants? And by the way, if we are a nation of immigrants, or the people who are immigrants in this country, they should be legal. They should come here and respect our country enough to respect its laws and come here legally. Otherwise, those others are illegal immigrants. I can't even begin to tell you what I went through during the news break. All I'll just say is this. I get out there and I look at my desk, and the desk I use, and there's people all sitting there on my computer. That's the only thing I'll tell you. What are you doing at my computer? Now, there are some of you out there who might visit me on Facebook that are going to feel offended because of Chad. Because I am going to tell you, I don't friend people on Facebook. I think I had one, and that was a girl I went to school with in elementary school, Susan Rosenthal, and I somehow friended her back, but that was it. That's it, okay? So I don't friend people. For no reason. I just don't get involved with that. I urge people to go to facebook.com/SteveMTalk, facebook.com/SteveMTalk, and like my page and follow it. I can post great stuff. But I don't friend. So apparently I got hundreds of requests for people to friend me over the years or whatever. So Chad goes on my computer because it was open to Facebook. I was on the Facebook page, and he accepts every friend request or lots of friend requests. For no reason. So if you've been accepted as a friend by me and now you're offended because I said to Chad, unfriend everyone you just friended without my permission, he says now he did. So if you've been unfriended, don't take offense. It was Chad who accepted your friending, not me. And no offense that I don't, but I don't.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, hey, Chad.
How about this? How about they can friend me
How about respecting
at Chad
somebody's
Wilkinson?
Desk and computer?
I was producing your Facebook page.
You were?
Yes.
You got my password? Gee whiz, you don't have my password for a reason. I better watch what I leave up there. Anyway, if I can't say that. No, Noel warned me. I won't say it. I will not say it. All right, before we go to Ralph Peters, I want you to hear the two cuts of what took place this morning, and this is going to be cut number 57. 7. Jonathan Carl, ABC News.
As you know, when this attack happened, the White House initially said it arose out of a spontaneous protest over an anti-Muslim video. That turned out not to be true, and the White House said they relied entirely on CIA talking points. But I have obtained 12 different versions of those talking points that shows that they were dramatically edited by the administration. Take a look at 2 of them. On the left, a draft initially written by the CIA. On the right, one that was used by the White House, the final version. What was taken out? All references to Al-Qaeda and all references to CIA warnings before the attack about the terror threat in Benghazi.
All right, now that was part 1. Here's part 2, cut 58.
So then, John, again, if this gains traction now, as they seem to be direct contradictions, how bad could this be for the State Department and its former head, Hillary Clinton?
Well, that remains to be seen, but Josh, I have had emails read to me that show that many of these changes were directed by Hillary Clinton's spokesperson at the State Department, Victoria Nuland. In one email, she said that information about CIA warnings, quote, could be abused by members of Congress to beat up the State Department for not paying attention to warnings. So why would we want to feed that? After that email, all of those references were deleted. Now, the White House is saying that there is nothing inappropriate about the State Department giving input into this, and that ultimately the CIA drafted these talking points and approved them. But I'll tell you, Josh, they initially said only one word had been changed.
Yep, they initially said one word had been changed. And in fact, it's not one word. In fact, it's lots and lots and lots of references. And don't you love, hey, we don't need about any info in those talking points about how the CIA had warned about a terrorist attack on the compound in Benghazi? Because, you know, why would we want to do that? It could be used against us, make us look bad. And this is Hillary's spokesperson, making sure that never saw the light of day. And then you got Carney saying, we only changed one word between us and the State Department. One word. Lie. That's the word that he should have been using. Lie. That's what I think. That's what it sounds like to me. Let's see. Yep, smells like a lie, so it must be a lie. Okay, when we come back, Ralph Peters from Fox News strategic analyst and great author, will join us on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also joined our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Are you tired of the insanity in talk radio? Well, there's a new voice during the afternoon. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, we are back on the Steve Malzberg Show, and as promised, we welcome in the great Ralph Peters, strategic analyst for Fox News Channel and columnist and author of a great new book, which is just out this week. We talked about it with him in advance last time he was on, and it's called Hell or Richmond, and it's a Civil War novel, which you must get your hands on. And Ralph, thank you, sir, for coming on.
Hey, Steve, I'm delighted to talk to you. It was great to meet up in the flesh the other night. Always been an admirer of yours.
Well, you know the feeling's very mutual. When I found out we were speaking at the same event in support of a unified Jerusalem earlier in the week, I called you immediately because I didn't even know that, and we got to meet and break bread and sit next to each other, and it was great. So I thank you for all that. Now, I don't know where to start, so I'll start here. The revelations today, the Jonathan Karl report today, which led to the off-the-record press briefing by select members of the media with the Carney, I guess, and Obama administration officials, and then to the very, confrontational White House press briefing, where it's been revealed that the talking points were sanitized by the White House and mostly the State Department, whereas we were told there was only one little word changed by the White House and the State Department.
Yeah, it was almost painful to watch Jay Carney writhing under the attack. I mean, it was like a snake getting hit with a club. But look, he lied. The president lied. Hillary lied. Victoria Nuland lied. Susan Rice lied. And at some point, the lies got to stop. And I think what changed today, Steve, is that the establishment media has loved Obama to and just close ranks around him to defend him on Benghazi and make excuses for him. But when ABC broke ranks and came up with those 12 memos about the talking points, clearly demonstrating that at the State Department's behest, the key facts were cut out. And it was clearly a cover-up. The message was from State and the White House that, well, the American people don't deserve the truth. Our political capital is much more expensive. I mean, it was just so sad. I mean, this is Neil Cavuto. I just was on Fox with Neil. It was great. And he asked what I thought about the legal implications. Well, I'm not a lawyer, and I told him that. But it's not about the legal fine print now. It's a moral issue of lying to the American people again and again and again. And so you saw Jay Carney getting grilled by everybody because, as you know, you've been in the business for a long time, Steve. When ABC, somebody that big, breaks ranks and whacks the president, then everybody's got to pile on so that it won't be left behind.
Right. And
so I think Wednesday should have turned the tide, but today was what really did it. And we'll see if over the weekend it all blows away again. But clearly today, for the first time ever in his administration, the press grew fiercely critical of the White House.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. You're absolutely right. And the key was, as I said at the beginning of the show, after we spoke to John Bolton, that I could sit here from now for the next 3 years, and Fox News could, and various blogs could, and various people could, but Rush could, and talk about Benghazi and what's going on. But until it went mainstream, until ABC News launched that, then you know what it was? It was like Reverend Wright. The scrutiny on Reverend Wright, we on Talk Radio talked about it long before, but it was their investigative report. It was Brian Ross, who did a story on ABC News about Reverend Wright and the sermons and played some of them and whatnot. And then it became, even though it never got, in my opinion, enough coverage, then it went mainstream and questions were asked. So I think you hit it right on the head. Let's talk a little bit about Wednesday, because I thought there was devastating stuff that came out Wednesday. By the way, we also had Victoria Tossing on this show today. Drudge has linked to the interview. He was nice enough to do that. She revealed that Greg Hicks, the State Department, is pulling that let's blame and trash the messenger, Ralph. And with regard to Hicks, they're saying he was not demoted, as he claims. He asked for the office job, and he's getting the same pay. Well, she said that's a bald-faced lie, that he was threatened, take this office job or you'll have no job. So that's one revelation. But also, the revelations that he was told by the State Department, don't you dare talk to Congressman Chaffetz when he comes to Libya to investigate what happened. That, in and of itself, is a huge story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complex cover-up. But I don't think President Obama is a socialist. I think he's an Obamaist. But nonetheless, this administration uses standard Marxist-Leninist tactics. When you're under fire for doing something bad, blame the other guy, blame the accuser for doing the same thing. And so you've now got the White House saying, well, this is all just the Republicans playing politics, when if you read the memos that were released today by ABC, it's clear that it was all about politics for the administration, where they cut all reference to Islamist terrorists, to Ansar al-Sharia, to all the references to the previous warnings about the attack.
Right.
The CIA. Now, admittedly, the CIA was covering for itself somewhat too, but nonetheless, I worked the interagency process on the intel side, behind the green door. And the rule was this: you could argue and argue and argue about the interpretation of the facts, but you never tried to change the facts.
Yep.
And so here's and let me tell you where the investigation has to go now, because I'm afraid the mainstream media, the establishment media, I prefer to call it, is going to get target lock, fixation on these 12 memos, 12 emails. And that's only the beginning of the spool that has to unravel. The real question for me isn't, what changes were made to the CIA talking points. I want to know now what changes the CIA made internally before the original talking points came out, because I don't know any intelligence-related people at all who believed that this was remotely about the video or a demonstration. Some of us outside thought for the first 24 hours, well, that might be part of it. But the intel community knew long before these talking points were released that it wasn't. Now, here's my scenario.
We only got 30 seconds, Ralph.
Okay,
yeah.
It's this.
Yeah.
Dave Petraeus was under investigation. He knew it. He tried to save his career by compromising, but he thought he had a certain amount of stuff, the Ansar al-Sharia stuff, Al-Qaeda, still in it. And he was then shocked when they double-crossed him, and thanks to State, they even cut that, and the talking points were all BS.
Wow. That's an interesting scenario. Hey, listen, Ralph, we'll pursue this. Good luck, best of luck with the book, and we will talk to you again very, very soon. That's Ralph Peters, ladies and gentlemen. And I wish we had more time to talk about that scenario, because now I'm going to think about it the rest of the day on the Steve Malzberg Show.
No, we'll talk about it next week.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S. specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
You have the right to remain silent, but we'd prefer if you didn't.
Spinning the law, spinning the law.
This is Malzberg's
Spinning the Law.
Spinning the Law.
Spinning the Law.
With attorney Kendall Coffey.
The State of Arizona versus Jodi Ann Arias, verdict, count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn, in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty. 5.
All right, there you go. That was the verdict a couple of days ago. In the Jodi Arias trial, she was found guilty of premeditated murder, first degree, in the murder of Travis Alexander, who her ex-boyfriend or boyfriend. Joining us now, as you know, is Kendall Coffey, the great attorney and author of the great book called Spinning the Law, and we're spinning the law with him. Hey, Kendall, how are you?
Great, Steve. Just super.
I know there's probably nobody busier than you, so I hope you know how much we all appreciate your time when you do this, because it's one of my favorite segments, and I know you're very, very busy. But I don't know if you watched the verdict live, we had it live here on the air, but again, since you're so busy, you probably didn't. But what was your reaction? I guess it's the right verdict, but were you surprised at all?
It's hard to be surprised. I mean, starting out with the fact that she lied for 2 years, saying it was these intruders and all kinds of different stories, and just the self-defense with 30 gory stab wounds, a shot to the head. It was just, an appalling defense. Now, the defense lawyer did everything he could to try to get it to a manslaughter, sort of a crime of rage and passion, or even second-degree murder. But at the end of the day, when you combine that much brutality with that much lying, that the jury just isn't going to accept anything but first-degree murder. And so it wasn't surprising. And now, of course, she's got a pretty bleak trial ahead of her on the sentencing phase, where the jury will decide whether it's life or death.
Yeah, well, I want to get into that. I just wanted to talk about how unusual this whole thing has been. And, of course, at the sentencing phase, which was supposed to start yesterday, someone called in a bomb threat and said the second she walks into the building, they're going to blow the courtroom up. So the SWAT teams came in, the bomb-sniffing dogs came in, and now it's been postponed indefinitely. I don't know if the nut who called it in is doing it in support of her or against her. I don't have any idea. But here's what she said, and you got to tell me after we hear this just how crazy this all is. Here's what she said to a Phoenix Fox News reporter who had access to her for almost an hour right after the verdict was read. And this is what she said about choosing the death penalty over life in prison.
Well, the worst outcome for me would be natural life. I would much rather die sooner than later. Longevity runs in my family, and I don't want to spend the rest of my natural life in one place. I'm pretty healthy, I don't smoke, and I would probably live a long time. So that's not something I'm looking forward to. I said years ago that I'd rather get death than life, and that still is true today. I believe death is the ultimate freedom, so I'd rather just have my freedom as soon as I can get it.
So you're saying you actually prefer getting the death penalty to being in prison for life?
Yes.
All right. So before we even figure out how this is going to play with the jury, and was she being real or was she trying to psych the jury out, and how on earth does a lawyer let her do this, or does a lawyer have any control over this?
Well, you've got to assume that no lawyer would ever let his client talk to the media, not just in a murder case, not just in an incredibly high-profile murder case, but basically any kind of a criminal proceeding. It's always a disastrous mistake. And, of course, she was talking much earlier in this case to national interviews where she was telling people about the original false story that, there were these intruders that did it. So there she is committed, on national television with a complete pack of lies. So you think of every defendant that's gotten out there publicly that comes to mind recently. Blagojevich, he did a whole tour of practically every television show that would talk to him. Right. And obviously the Jerry Sandusky thing, I mean, that still jumps out at you, where he gets on the Bob Costa interview. Right. And we won't forget that. And frankly, George Zimmerman didn't do himself a lot of good. Getting on Sean Hannity with some comments that, some people are going to react to comments that saying that there was no remorse in the guy or no sadness. Even if you're innocent, you ought to be sad and regretful that a human being
all of
lost
these
his
interviews,
life.
as we saw with Sandusky and whatnot, and with her, Jodi Arias, they're all used in the trial. They're all able to be used in the trial, right?
Absolutely. And some people, and I had a client in one case who actually had gone on TV before I represented him, with a TV interview that got played right in the middle of the trial. It's a long story as to how we got him acquitted, but the short version
do we know
don't
who
let a client do it.
Do we know who it was? Would we know the name? Was it a high
No,
profile?
it was a high profile locally.
Oh, okay.
It was an anti-Castro freedom fighter. But again, what we learn is it's always a mistake. It can be used. It will be used. It's dramatic footage when the prosecutor can play it in front of the jury.
Well, how will this, do you believe, be used? I mean, if she's true to form or true to herself, or if we could believe her, then she'll get up and say, or have her lawyer say, my client requests the death penalty, no further arguments, goodbye. But I doubt that's going to happen. So how do you think the jury will view this, that she's playing a game with them? Because you know how manipulative she is.
Well, I think that the jury is going to assume that. I mean, there's just been too many strange turns. And they saw her for how many days on the stand and decided at the end of all of her claims and professions and protestations that she was guilty of first-degree murder. So there's not much she can do to help herself. That being said, her lawyers are going to fight like crazy because, they're going to try to save her life in spite of her. And the one thing they've got going for them is the way the death penalty system works. If they can get a juror or two to say life, then the death penalty is not going to be invoked.
Right. It's got to be unanimous, right? Yeah.
It has to be unanimous in the Arizona sentencing phase. And there can be a lot of situations where a jury doesn't have too much trouble finding first-degree murder, convicting on all the charges, but sometimes struggles with life and death. I'll give you two examples of one of them is a guy who basically wanted to be put to death, Zacharias Masawi. Some
so-called 19th hijacker, yeah.
So-called 19th hijacker. Yeah. He went in there, pled guilty to everything, and basically, wanted a martyrdom. And one or two of the jurors said no. So he's in Supermax in Colorado for life. Another one was Terry Nichols, who was the second participant, the accomplice in the Oklahoma City bombing, who went to two capital trials, one federally and one in the state system. And both times, despite the monstrous dimensions of the loss of life in Oklahoma City bombing, there was a juror, at least one, that said no death penalty for this guy.
Well, do you think that the fact that she was on the stand so long, even though they didn't believe her, and it's kind of, I don't want to use the word like her, because I'm sure nobody likes her, but do you think that could influence that the more exposure they had to her, she becomes more of at least a sympathetic figure and more likely to have one or two say no to death?
I do. I think there's going to be somebody that thinks she's warped, she's crazy, that there were some that ultimately the jury found that she committed first-degree murder. But I just think having somebody right in front of you for so long can create almost a perverse familiarity, a combination, mostly horror for some people, but for others, some kind of odd connection. And so ultimately that could be what saves her. Again, it just takes one juror.
Right. All right. Well, we'll see how that pans out. I just hope it doesn't take as long as the trial did. We're talking to Kendall Coffey here on the Steve Malzberg Show, our Spinning the Law segment. Let me ask you about something that came out today. And, we all like to think that we pay our taxes, or if we don't pay our taxes, then we'll get in trouble, and that if we're audited, it's for good reason, or if we apply for something through the government, or in this case the IRS, we're treated in a fair manner. But now it comes out and the IRS has apologized for basically holding up the applications and giving special scrutiny to the applications of any group seeking tax-exempt status during the 2012 election period that had the word Tea Party or Patriot in their group's name. They've now admitted to this, claim it was all low-level staffers in Cincinnati. It's been stopped, but I don't see where anybody's been fired, and the White House was asked about it today, and they said it's kind of the first they've heard of it. They're not sure when they found out about it, but, this is kind of scary stuff because people have accused the IRS and the government of having these lists for decades in our history.
Well, and it's actually one of the most troubling things I've heard in a while about government. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff we're sort of used to, mistakes, this and that. But think about all the protections that we have supposedly built in to the IRS process, confidentiality. Even federal prosecutors can't immediately get your tax returns. They have to go through a careful process. And the idea that the massive powers of the Internal Revenue Service would be deployed with some kind of, politicized profiling is frightening. And it's not enough to say, oh, gee, sorry. There has to be a thorough examination, which I suspect there will be, and some aggressive level of reforms to make sure this doesn't happen again, because none of us are safe. If any kind of politically oriented profiling by government becomes possible. I mean, it just really tears at the fabric of our republic.
No, absolutely correct. And I wonder if there's any. Do these groups have the ability, if they've been apologized to, and if it's been acknowledged, do they have the ability to sue in any regard or anything like that?
Not much is tougher than suing the
IRS,
the government.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's got to come from is there's got to be. I think we can expect some very aggressive congressional inquiry to get to the bottom of it. But it's not an issue to let go.
No.
Because it's going to happen again. And even if you're a Democrat, you ought to be sitting back and saying, I'm appalled by this, because the Republicans will be back in the White House soon enough, and you certainly don't want to see that kind of government targeting switched around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You have time for one more quick one, and this is kind of crazy. But, the government, the FDA was found, a judge ordered that the FDA should make the morning after pill, the Plan B one-step, available for girls of all ages in the drugstores, right next to everything, the aspirins or wherever, in plain sight, no matter what the age limit. And the Obama administration, the FDA then came out and said, well, we're going to make it 15 for now, and we're going to appeal. And the judge blasted the Justice Department and actually the FDA for putting that 15 age limit on, and saying that the FDA was a cynical move, an attempt to sugarcoat, quote unquote, this appeal of yours. I'm a little confused here, because how could the judge? I mean, if the judge could say, you have to, don't they have to enforce their order pending appeal? Can't the judge rule on that?
Well, yeah, the judge.
I'm not favoring that. I don't want them to, but I mean, the judge could say, no, you can't make it 15. You got to make it available to everybody pending the outcome of your appeal, right?
Yeah. Well, what they seem to be doing is manipulating the landscape after the judge had entered a ruling, and what you're expected to do is, if as you appeal it, you got a right to do that. If you disagree, come back to the judge. But apparently they did neither. And what they attempted to do is use an administrative revision, in effect, to change the basis of the judge's ruling, arguably in order to affect the outcome of the appeal. You know, you're in federal court, play it straight. They got rules. If you want to appeal, appeal. If you want the judge himself or herself to address a change of circumstances, bring that to the judge's attention. It was kind of a backdoor, side door thing that the judge was offended by.
Yeah, he wasn't amused. All right, listen, Kendall, thank you so much, sir. Have a great weekend. I appreciate your time as always.
You too. You're the best, Steve.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that. That's Kendall Coffey, ladies and gentlemen. Spinning the Law. And I say it every week. Again, he's not on to plug his book, but the book is a few years old now, and that's how I met Kendall. He came up on a book tour several years ago when I was at WOR. Great guy. Very high-profile cases. The represented the Gore side in the Bush v. Gore and Elian Gonzalez, and he has just a great story to tell. So that book, if you haven't never seen it or read it, pick it up. Spinning the Law. We're coming back. We're going to do a little Hillary shuffle in honor of everything that's gone on. When we come back, I'm not going to dance. Right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And I love my sister. And I'm so proud of her. But I just don't get it. Where did Lulu go wrong? Did she not campaign hard enough? Did she not raise enough money? Did she hold too few debates against a cardboard Nancy Pelosi? And I got to tell you, this scares me to my core. I'm shaken. This was the first political campaign where I knew and cared about the candidate before they got into politics. I saw firsthand how her opponents smeared her with outrageous accusations I knew to be untrue.
Aw, poor Stephen Colbert, lamenting the fact that his sister, Elizabeth Colbert Bush, how could he be Colbert and she be Colbert? Gee, I don't know. Anyway, she lost. She lost to Mark Sanford, and good. We talked about it, and it's good. It speaks very poorly to any Democratic challenge to overtake the House in 2014. He wasn't debating a picture of Nancy Pelosi, obviously. He went around and he linked Elizabeth Colbert Bush to Nancy Pelosi, same philosophies, same everything. And he slaughtered in political terms, Sanford did. This flawed ex-governor who cheated on his wife, how dare he run again? How dare he show his face in public? He's not Bill Clinton. He's a Republican. He must be punished for life. And he won by, 8 points? So good for him. Okay, he's scared to his core, Stephen Colbert. Wake up. Grow up. The liberal media and the little liberal clique doesn't control the world. Now, it is Friday. Hillary's got a lot, as Ricky Ricardo would say, Hillary's got a lot of splaining to do. And let's celebrate, shall we? For that, it's Friday anyway, and let's go out with a little, not go out, we'll be back, but little Hillary shuffle, shall we? Hit it.
What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make?
We weren't told they wanted more security again. We did not know they wanted more security again.
What difference does it make?
I'll make our government open and transparent so that anyone can ensure that our business is the people's business.
What difference does it make?
The word's out that he hasn't paid any taxes for 10 years.
What?
Let him prove that he has paid taxes, because he hasn't.
What difference does it make?
When there's a bill that ends up on my desk as president, you, the public, will have 5 days to look online and find out what's in it before I sign it.
What difference does it make?
Well, we know that the operation began in the field offices in Arizona.
What?
At this point, I can say that it started in Arizona, and I'm not at all certain who beyond that can be said to have been involved.
What difference does it make?
We have already identified $2 trillion in deficit reductions that will help us cut our deficit in half by the end of my first term.
What difference does it make?
There's no reason, Bob, that young American soldiers need to be going into the homes of Iraqis in the dead of night, terrorizing kids and children, women.
What difference does it make?
There's more bang for the buck by investing in food stamps and in unemployment insurance than in any tax cuts.
At this point, what difference does it make?
The right thing for the economy now is to lock in some reforms that achieve concrete savings.
What?
So that Congress is living within its means.
In fact, what this began as was a spontaneous, not a premeditated response to this very offensive video that was disseminated.
What difference does it make?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
What difference does it make?
I never told anybody to lie, not a single time.
What difference does it make?
It's a lie.
So let me be absolutely clear. If you are a family making less than $250,000 a year, you will not see your taxes go up.
What difference at this point does it make?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed our little Hillary shuffle. It's not ours. I think libertymedia.com, I think, is the people who put that together. I found it on American Thinker. And I was lucky. So there you go. It's been a wild week full of lots of news, and we're entering week number 15 of the Big Steve Malzberg Show next week. I want to thank you all for being out there. Follow me on Twitter at SteveMTalk, and on Facebook.com/SteveMTalk. Like me. I won't friend you, though, as you heard on the Steve Malzberg Show. Have a good weekend, everybody.
The Steve Malzberg Show.